And good. And we're live. Excellent. So, as usual, y'all already know this. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So, you can pretty much catch me anywhere. We're going to talk about how to say what you want to say and get paid, and say what you know and get paid for it. So, I have my notes here. I'm going to read from my notes. Okay. Let's begin. You've been feeling like, why can't I just say what I know and get paid for it? So, this is for you. The core message: you're not blocked, you're protecting yourself from being seen as powerful. That's the witch wound, okay? Being seen as powerful. There's a whole shitstorm behind that I'm going to get into later in a different live. But for right now, we're going to stick with this. But we will get into the witch wound for sure. You're protecting yourself from being seen as powerful. 3 ways that you're getting in your own way. You soften your power when money is involved. You're confident in your magic until it's time to charge for it. Then all of a sudden it feels icky. For example, over explaining your offer, underpricing your offer. I know you're doing it. Don't lie to me. Saying it's not too much, but it's not much, but when you talk about your offers, like you downplay them or you water them down, or you're like, well, it's just da da da. It's not just blah blah blah. It's not just palmistry. It's not just tea leaf reading. It's not just cartomancy. It's what you do. It is your area of expertise. So it's not just anything. It's an extension of you, an extension of your power. So if you've been downplaying it, that's one of the symptoms here. Avoiding direct selling. So you have a problem with like getting online and actually selling your offers, your spiritual offers. Like you don't know how to, or you think you don't know how to, which is more like it. Or you're just, afraid to, as people say, come off as too salesy or seem too salesy. We're getting past that today. Today. So let's reframe. Getting out of your own way means speaking about your work like it's normal to be paid and paid well for it. Okay. 2, you hide behind not ready yet. Okay. That used to be my problem. Not ready yet. Perfection is just a prettier form of hiding. Examples include, quote, I need more knowledge first. I need a better offer first. I'll start posting when I'm more confident. These types of things are ways. I don't like to tell people that they're making excuses because it seems kind of rude to say that, but these are ways that you're finding to hide your power instead of just put it out there. But there's a reason for that. Like I say, this all of this stuff traces back to the witch wound. So we're going to talk about that at the tail end. The truth is, you don't need more skill, you need more courage, and courage is a choice. Okay, it really is. You decide whether or not you're going to be courageous and do something. You decide that you're going to say, well, I'm just going to have balls and just do this. It's a choice that you make in the moment. How bad do you want whatever it is that you want? How bad do you want to be your own boss? How bad do you want to run your own business? How bad do you want to be in charge? How bad do you want to be the head witch CEO? You want to make your own schedule, have your own money. You don't want to have to answer to anybody except maybe the IRS. But that's just once a year, though. It's not all the time. But shit like that. How much do you want what it is that you want? Do you want to do this or not? And the answer is yes or fucking no. And you have to choose if you're going to have courage and say, all right, I'm just going to go all in. I know I don't know what I'm doing, but fuck it, I'm just going to do it anyway. And you just fucking do it. We're grown here. Okay. You either want something or you don't. Do you know what I mean? Because you'd tell somebody else that if they were like flirting with you or some shit like that, or trying to get you to do something or offering you something or whatever. If somebody was like interacting with you and they were being wishy-washy about it, you would say, now listen, damn it, you're either in or you're out. Now, which is it? Don't waste my fucking time, because you wouldn't let other people get away with that with you doing something. So don't let yourself get away with it with you. Do you know what I mean? Because that's just fear leading the way. So basically, who you're talking to when you say things like, uh, make the choice now, damn it. The part of you that you're speaking to is the fearful part. You're speaking to the fear. So it's either do what you're going to do or move. You know what I mean? And you have to have that talk with yourself sometimes. So you don't need more skill, you need more courage. You avoid visibility because it feels unsafe. This is the big one for you, okay? Your nervous system still thinks being seen as powerful is dangerous. That is witch wound. So anytime women in history have been powerful with their magic, they've just been, you know, silenced in different ways. I don't have to say how, but they've been silenced, and that has taught you that it's safer to just be quiet about your power and to avoid it. And also, women in general, not just witches, but women in general, have been taught to fear power in general so that they will hand over their own. And that hit me one day when I was meditating about it, and it hit me so strongly, that thought and that concept hit me so strongly. I never forgot it because I've never heard anybody else say it, and it came out of nowhere. I don't know. I was meditating and it just came to my mind. But women have been taught to fear power so that they'll hand over their own. And that's something you have to really, that's one of those things that makes you like rethink life. Do you know what I mean? So your nervous system still thinks being seen as powerful is dangerous. Examples include deleting posts, not posting consistently, holding back opinions, and making content but not selling. Okay, so we're not going to do any more of that kind of shit. No deleting post. No, this is all second guessing yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like that's all. Oh, I'm not sure. Blah blah blah. Not sure. Not sure. We're gonna get past the not sure stuff. That's all going away today. Okay, we're erasing that. Instead, we're going to reframe, and we're going to say that getting out of your own way isn't a mindset shift. It's for safety. It's about safety. You have to feel safe before. You have to feel safe being seen as paid, and you have to feel safe with being seen in general, and then feel safe with getting paid for being seen. So it's actually two separate things there. Being visible in period, like at all, and then after that, being okay with receiving money for being visible. Like as women, you know, your money, your birthright is that your money is supposed to come to you passively anyway. You're not supposed to bust your ass for it. Estrogen isn't designed for that. You know, it's you're not supposed to die, you know, every time you need to earn $50 or $100 or 1,000 or 10,000. It's that you shouldn't have to do that. It doesn't work that way. We're not made for that. So you just being yourself online and just being visible and just being like, ta-da, here I am, bitches, you know, take it or leave it. You know, that is how you get paid. It's supposed to be how you get paid. That's normal. Okay, so we're going to create normalcy and a normal feeling and a safe feeling around just being visible and getting paid for it. Boom, I just was myself today and made $1,000. Boom, bitch. You know, whatever. It's like, it'd be like nothing. It'd be like, once you get used to it, it'll be like nothing. The shift. You don't need to get out of your own way by forcing yourself. You do it by removing the witch wound that makes being visible and paid feel unsafe, okay? Because once the witch wound is gone, you no longer hesitate. You just show up, speak up, and get paid. Period. Done. So you see, you're just being yourself. Here's a simple action that I have for you. Today, I want you to post one piece of content where you say exactly what you do and include a price or invitation to work with you. No softening, no hiding. Okay, just get up there. You know, if you want to get some help with it, use ChatGPT or something like that to have somebody like write out a thing that you can post. I would say if you use AI, that's not a bad thing, but I would highly suggest going through it, reading it, and really rewriting it to sound exactly the way you talk instead of the way the computer talks. Don't just blindly. I ask that you not blindly post something that AI spit out without reading it or without changing it. You need to make it sound like you. Go through there and change out words that make it sound very passionate, that make it sound like it's straight from your heart, and make it very plain in its lingo, very plain in its words, very matter of fact, to the point, punchy. Do you know what I mean? Like boom, message, loud and clear, short and sweet, signed, sealed, delivered. That's how it needs to sound. It needs to be in your words. I like to use the layout of the AI stuff. Like I'll use it for a layout or for like a flow. Flow is what I mean to say. But I still go through and change pretty much everything in it because I want it still needs to be in my own words, but I like the flow of it and the layout, if that helps. So post one piece of content where you say exactly what you do. And when you read what you've written, I want you to read it again and try to make the sentences shorter. Make them shorter and make them more like packing a punch. You know what I mean? Like bam. Just like you'll get used to it. You'll see what I mean. Test yourself and see what you come up with. This is important. You're not here to fall into the pecking order. That makes no sense. And it's why nothing else has made sense either. You're not meant to be in the crowd. You're meant to be on the stage. The pecking order is the invisible hierarchy online. Well, it's, I said online, but it's in person as well. Who's allowed to speak? Who's advanced enough? Who gets to charge more? Who's taken seriously? And this can look like waiting until you're good enough to post, till you think you're good enough to post or speak on a certain topic, looking at other witches and ranking yourself beneath them, which happens. I've seen that happen. That's terrible. Don't do that. Thinking you need permission to speak or sell. Nope. Copying instead of leading. Nope. You've been trying to find your place in a system that was never built for you. So with that, you can, there's a lot of things you could use to specify that, like the common selling system. Of course, this is shifting now into the uncommon selling system, but the way this all started out, of course, was masculine sales systems where they push to get what they want. And I've had women coaches push me to try to like sell to me and shit, and like try to get me to buy shit and try to get me to hand them, thousands of dollars when I didn't want to, because I didn't want their program that bad. And it's just, the pushy stuff, we're not designed for that. Women are not designed to push. We're not designed to be pushed. It's just, the persistent stuff isn't what wins us over. Is the environment with this good? That's what wins us over. And that's why you buy something. You're buying the experience, maybe the results too, but even more than that, the experience. So when you're trying to use a system that wasn't built with you in mind, like the masculine sales systems that they use, where they just they do everything the hard way, that works for them. Fine. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to worry about it. It's not my problem, so I'm not going to worry about it. But it wasn't built for you. What you need is something much gentler and much more intuitive and much more higher minded and much more aligned with your higher self than the pushy shit. So next, we're going to talk about why this is messing you up. This is the insight. Because you're not designed to fit into an hierarchy, you're designed to lead your own space. So this can explain a lot, not just with business, but with everything in life. Like this, I resonate with this shit so much right here, because I don't know the times that I was trying to fit into groups, or I was trying to like be part of the group or be part of the crowd, or just elbow my way in somewhere, with a group of people, especially women. And there's always going to be somebody that can't handle it. There's always going to be at least one or two that can't handle it. And when that happens, you get a lot of friction, and you'll find out, like, eventually, through the grapevine, you find out that war has been waged against you behind your back. and and that you and that happens because you don't fall into the pecking order. And I didn't know that about myself until somebody told me one time. Someone was nice enough to tell me. It was a British woman that I was friends with years ago, and she said, "Miranda, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm going to tell you why you're experiencing this shit." And she was old enough to know, so I took her word for it. She said, "You don't fall into the pecking order. That's why they don't like you." And I said, "Oh my God." And I had to stop and rethink life, because, like, no one had ever had the wherewithal or the presence of mind to just fucking tell me that. No one had the sense, the good sense, to just say, "Miranda, you don't fall into their little hierarchy thing. You don't fit into that. That's why they can't fucking stand you." So just say la vie. But that happens in business. It happens everywhere. And it's happened to me in a lot of different places. So I understand how it feels. And I'm telling you, number one, expect it, because you don't fit in, and you're not supposed to fit in. So just expect it. Just be ready for it, because it's going to be there. You try not to be too shocked. And then when you do see it, just keep going. Just keep going. It doesn't even mean anything. It's not important. It's high school shit. Just keep going. You're here to build a business for freedom, for power, for control over your own life. And that's what we're going to focus on. So when you try to fit in, you feel confused, behind, or not good enough. When you compare, you disconnect from your own power. And when you follow, you dilute your voice. So the none of those things are meant for you: fitting in, comparing, or following. And this is why people like us have a hard time. I don't know about you, but I always had a hard time with trying to find the right religious or spiritual path, trying to find the right deity that I was going to work with, or anything like that. I've always had problems with that. And I had to, it took me a long time and a lot of trial and tribulation to realize that I don't need any of that stuff that I thought I needed. And that's just my path. I'm not trying to preach to anybody or whatever. That's just me. But that's an example. None of it worked because I had to come to the understanding that I didn't need it anyway, is my point. That's why nothing feels like it's working, because you're playing a game that is beneath you. The competition, the jealousy, anything like that you run into, all of that shite is beneath you. And it's, like I say, it's high school shit. We're past that now. We're all grown, and we don't need any of that kind of stuff. So the competition and anything like that is not our problem. Hang on, guys. Hang on. Okay. The identity shift. This is the core teaching, okay? You're not meant to be in the crowd. You're meant to be on the stage. This means being in the crowd looks like consuming more than creating, waiting for permission, blending in, and softening your voice. So we're not going to do any of that shit. Consuming, waiting, blending, or softening. Okay, you can do the complete opposite of these things. Because consuming means that you're wasting your creative energy and your creative time. You could be doing something amazing, and instead you're just sitting there scrolling. The scrolling is going to make you feel bad anyway, because if you're trying to get over the witch wound and you're trying to get past all of this kind of stuff, you're going to catch yourself comparing yourself to people that you see, and you can make yourself feel worse. And there's no reason for that. So to rise above that, you just simply don't engage in that way. And not until you're ready to look at it and see your own value while you're seeing someone else's at the same time. Waiting for permission. We're not doing that. We're waiting for permission. Shit, from who? Who? who's paying your bills right now? Who's taking care of you? Who's giving you permission with other shit you do in your life? You have to think about that before you say, "Well, I'm just gonna wait and see, if it's okay for me to post this, blah, blah." I don't know what's going on. I mean, I put it in there, just because there's people that feel that way, but I'm telling you, do not do it. Blending in? No. No, 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 no. You cannot blend in. You won't make money blending in. You have to be electric. You have to be magnetic. You have to be original. Original is going to be, when I say authentic, I mean originality. That's going to be what gets you your money. That's going to be what gets you paid, because people want original. The influencer and the trends and shit like that, all of that stuff is starting to really die out. It was very short lived. And we're getting to a point where people don't want all that kind of shit anymore, where they just copy each other. That's bullshit stuff. People want originality, and they want extreme stuff. They want stuff that's over the top. They want stuff that's exciting. The people are looking for not just an escape anymore, but they're looking for excitement. So you have to consider that, and you have to consider that your true self is damned exciting, and you need to just be yourself and put yourself out there in a way that is authentic as hell. And that's by being original and not doing trends and shit like that, or trying to blend in at all, because that's bullshit. You can't blend in anyway, duh, because you don't fit on the in the pecking order, duh. We already went over that. And then softening your voice, for who? For who? For who? Who are we doing that for? Do you see what I mean? So it makes no sense to do that. So we're not going to do any of that shit. Like, this is going to be a whole transformation in this one live, okay? Being on stage looks like speaking as if people are already listening, sharing your perspective, not repeating others, owning your work like it's valuable, because it is, selling like it's normal, because it is. Okay. So, and especially sharing your perspective, not repeating others. If you don't share your own perspective on something, you're not going to be seen as having any kind of expertise, or be seen as any kind of an authority, because you're not sharing what makes you different. If you're going to do this and run your own business, you have to show what makes you different. And if you're not doing that, then you're not different. If you're not different, then you're not interesting. And if you're not interesting or exciting, you're not going to get paid, because people want interesting and exciting. They want to experience that. They're paying for a proximity to power. Is what they're paying for. That's what they want. So anything besides that, and to be honest, anything short of that is not going to cut it. And selling like it's normal. That part, you'll get used to it, but it's really not that bad. Like, you just talk about your offer, and you pick one offer, sell the same offer for a few weeks. I know that sounds like a long time, but it's really not. Talk about that damn offer until you're blue in the face. Use up your stories, like post the stories as much as possible, and just, well, you don't have to do like 50, you know what I'm saying, but like do 10. Keep it right around 10 tops. Because people get tired of tapping and stuff, you know what I mean? But the attention span is short. That's the issue. But you talk about your offer until you're sick of it, and then talk about it a little bit more. Okay. And then, of course, owning your work like it's valuable, because it is damn valuable. And you have to see that your expertise, as soon as you find out what your expertise is, and what your little corner of your authority is going to turn into a big corner, by the way, because you're going to be the only person around that talks about it the way that you talk about it. And there is guaranteed motherfucking teed to be some fucking body out there who wants what you have, and who wants to hear it the way you've got to say. And that's it. There will be someone out there who wants to hear what you have to say about it. Your perspective is going to be something fresh, mind-blowing, exciting, electric, magnetic. It's going to be all those things. That's why you can't give up, because that person is waiting to find you and pay you, period. Okay. All right, we're going to make it practical. This is where most people fail, by the way. Getting on stage isn't about having a lot of followers. It's about how you show up on the stage, okay? It's about how you show up in your business, period, like every day. For example, this is my favorite part. Post like you already have clients. Speak like your work is already proven. That's my favorite one right there. Speak like your work is already proven. Stop explaining yourself like you're asking for approval. So that's my other favorite one. We're not going to ask for approval. I don't know who we're asking. Who are you asking for approval? Whose opinion are we worrying about here? Be real with yourself. Be real with me. Whose opinion are we fucking worrying about? Like who are you worrying about pleasing? I don't care if your parents follow you on Instagram or your boyfriend or your friends or your coworkers or your boss. Who gives a shit? You're not building this business for them. You're building it for yourself. This is your page. This is your life. Of course you could be obsessed with it. Of course you can be self-centered. It's your damn business. It's all about you and what you can do and your power. So I don't know who we're waiting for. Like, what the fuck is that? And stop explaining yourself like you're asking for approval. A lot of people start out feeling, especially women and especially witchy women, feel the need from the witch wound to over explain themselves every time every time they post something, or they over explain the price, they over explain why they're doing it the way they're doing it, and like the way I do tarot readings is totally different. I don't do live tarot readings where I answer 25 questions about one fucking card. I don't do that because back when I used to do that and I did live readings, people would ask me questions that it messed up my flow, and it got to where we would sit there like over an hour, and I don't want to do that. It's too much for me. I don't want to do that. I have a limit, like 45 minutes tops is probably as long as I can go doing a tarot reading for anybody. I can't do any longer than that. It's too exhausting. So the only way I was able to gain control of that just for me is to do it entirely differently. And I do the reading on my own, and I write down everything that I channel as I'm doing it, and I send it to them in a document. That's how I do it. Because the live thing, that's overwhelming for me. Because people are just like, I guess they're excited or whatever, and they ask a bunch of questions and they say a bunch of stuff, and they want to do story time, and that's 15 minutes, like it's just, I just can't do it. So I do it totally differently. And I told somebody that one time, like she was disappointed or whatever because she thought I was going to do it live and stuff. And I said, look, I'm still going to do your tarot reading, and I did, but I didn't explain myself when I said, well, I'm gonna do it on my own time when I'm good and ready, and I have the meditation going and everything else, and then I'll write everything down and send it to you. And I sent like 2 pages written down. It was a lot, 2-3 pages. But so she got, quote unquote, she got her money's worth, put it that way. But I didn't over explain why I do it that way. I just, because I'm not going to. That's my method, period. That's just how I do it. That's how I have to do it. And that's it. So you don't need to say more than what I've just said over stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't do that. Don't wear yourself out. Okay, so we're going to tie this into the witch wound now, okay? This is where we deepen it. The reason you keep putting yourself in the crowd is because the witch wound taught you it's not safe to be seen as powerful, which is the first thing we said in the very beginning, remember? So what happens? You shrink yourself down to nothing, to little Thumbelina. You wait till it's the right time to post. You wait until you're ready. You wait until you're good enough, especially waiting until you're ready. That's a big one. People don't want to, they don't want to do stuff because they think they're not ready. It's not about being ready. You're never going to be ready. We'll just put it that way. You're never really going to be ready. You just have to fucking do it and just see what happens. If you fumble, look, don't worry about it, because this is the part people forget. In your followers and in your audience, you're going to have people who see what you do and they, or people who don't follow you. And you're going to have people who are watching you, put it that way, people who are looking at you, who see what you do, and some of them are going to say, oh, and they'll be dismissive or whatever. Oh, fuck them. And then you're going to have people in your audience or people who are watching you who see what you do and they see you make a mistake or something like that, or you fumble somehow on a live or whatever. It doesn't matter. But they'll see you do something, like make a small mistake maybe. And they're going to say, it's okay. Not a big deal. Not really worried about it. Continue. I'm listening. I'm still listening. Those people exist. Those people are out there. And it's easy to forget that because you get so used to being hard on yourself and you get so used to thinking that you're being critiqued by everybody the fuck else the way you critiqued your fucking self. And you can't do that. You have to cut yourself a break and say, okay, I'm not going to be hard on myself. I got to quit that shit, quit that, knock it out. And there are going to be other people who also are not going to be hard on me like that. And they would tell me the same thing. If I let them know how I was feeling, they would let me know the same thing. Calm the fuck down. Everything's okay. Keep doing your live. You know what I mean? So don't stress it. You could have 90,000 followers and let's say 10 of them get in your live and say, this is dumb. Are you going to quit doing your live when you've got all those other people who still want to hear what you have to say? No. Do the live or whatever it is that you're doing, do it, because you still have all those other people who still want to know what you have to say. They want to know. And that's why you can't give up, because there's too many people for each person who has the temerity to disapprove of you. Fuck them. Nobody put their motherfucking ass in charge, so fuck them anyways. But anybody who's got the temerity to disapprove of you, for every one of those, there's 20 that want to hear what you have to say. So you can't quit and you can't give up over or stop yourself over some shit like, oh, well, what's so-and-so going to say? Fuck so-and-so. How about that? Did you ever think about that? So anyway, just something to think about. Or, okay, so what happens? You shrink, you wait, and you watch others lead, and you sit back, and you're like, man, I wish I could do that. And you like let yourself feel inadequate when you don't have to. So you stay in the crowd, not because you belong there, but because it feels safer. Okay. So the breakthrough moment is when you stop trying to find your place and start taking up space. Everything changes. This is where courage is going to come in again, okay? And you're going to have to step right over the witch wound. You're just going to have to step over it like you're stepping over a pile of dog shit. Just step over it because you're never going to get through this if you don't. You're never going to make it if you don't. You have to step over the witch wound, and we're going to work through it in another video. I'm getting to that, but we'll get into the fine details. But for right now, you're just going to have to consider taking up space so that your situation can improve. And that just means choosing to have the courage to just do the damn thing, selling your stories. If you don't quite, quote unquote, do it right, people might send you messages and ask you questions about it. Like, so what does that mean exactly? What does this mean? Okay. So does that mean I can, whatever, and answer their questions. And now you've been clear. Now you've given them the clarity, and now you know how you operate, what you need to do, and what you don't need to do from now on in your stories or whatever when you're selling and shit like that. Y'all both learn. You and the person whose questions you're answering, you both learn something today. So it's okay. It's okay to learn as you go. That's what I mean. And finally, just some thoughts that I want you to think about. You do not need to climb the ladder. You need to step out of it. And you'll notice I said step out of the ladder, not step down from it. You don't step down from something that you don't use because you don't need it. You don't need it. So you step out of the ladder and you just, in your mind, I want you to just swipe it away like that. Just get rid of it. Let's start with a blank space. You don't even need the fucking ladder. The ladder, guess what? Ladders have an end. They stop at some point. They have a stopping point. Eventually you'll get to the top of the ladder, and then what? So you don't need the fucking ladder. The pecking order, the quote unquote proper steps of doing something. You don't need it. The ranking, you don't need that shit. You're not behind, you're just mispositioned. Okay. So what you need to do is pivot either your messaging or your presentation or whatever it is that you're working on. You just pivot and you get down to your micro expertise and you talk about that, and that's where you have your authority. You weren't made to be ranked, you were made to lead. We know that now. The crowd consumes, but the stage gets paid. What that means is if you're like everybody else, you're just consuming like everybody else. If you put yourself on stage and make space for yourself no matter what, and that's going to be through your expertise that puts you on the stage, your specific thing that you are especially good at that other people are not talking about. And even if they are talking about it, it doesn't matter because they're not going to talk about it the way you talk about it. So you need to talk about it anyway. And you need to talk about it until you're sick of it. And then you talk about it some more. Do you know what I mean? Like you and 10 other people could be like me, for example, 10 other people like right in my immediate followers or something like that, or like mutuals, whatever, could be talking about the witch wound, but it doesn't matter because I'm still only going to talk about it the way that I would. And the rest of them are going to talk about it the way that they would. So we're all still different anyway. That part doesn't matter. And you don't earn your place, you create it. So you don't have to hope that someone's going to put you in the right place or give you permission to do something. You just have the courage to do it yourself. And you create your own place. And that's it for now. That's it for my notes. And I hope this was helpful. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.